We better talk about this because you're stuck with me for the rest of your life.
Giuliana and Bill had one of the most popular reality TV shows in the early 2010s, but after 2015, it seemed like the two of them just completely disappeared. From Giuliana dealing with some serious health issues to being involved in a major scandal. You guys won't believe the insane truth behind the couple's exit from the spotlight. In her own personal career, Giuliana got famous once she became a host at E! News in 2002, after meeting and later marrying her husband Bill, who was the winner of the first season of The Apprentice. The two of them became a major power couple, but while they were seriously successful, that didn't mean that their life was picture perfect. In 2009, things were looking great for Giuliana, as the reality show Giuliana and Bill just started airing on top of her already successful career on E! Network. But just 2 years later, in 2011, Giuliana was met with a serious health scare that took a lot out of her. At the young age of 34, and despite having no family history of the illness, Giuliana was diagnosed with breast cancer. The whole thing was incredibly shocking for the couple, but there was at least some small silver lining to it. In the years before her cancer diagnosis, she and Bill desperately wanted to have a family, but struggled with infertility issues. Because of this, it forced the two of them to look elsewhere, and they decided that they wanted to try IVF with a surrogate mother. In order to do this though, Giuliana had to undergo a mammogram as well as other health tests to ensure that it was possible for her to have a child with her own eggs. And that was when they discovered the cancer. While the whole thing was of course devastating, there's no doubt that it might have gone undetected if she wasn't facing her infertility issues. On the one hand, it seemed like the couple was hit with constant bad news, but they also believed that those issues saved her life. During her time being sick, Bill admitted that being her caregiver was difficult and extremely emotional at times, but he also felt like he was given the most important role since he could really help to make decisions based on facts instead of emotions. While dealing with the cancer, the two of them decided to move forward with Giuliana getting a double mastectomy, something which was an incredibly difficult decision, but ultimately the right one since it got rid of her cancer and it hasn't come back since. Despite her time fighting cancer, Giuliana never really stepped back from working and continue to push through with her career. So even though these health issues were a serious problem for her, it wasn't the thing that finally caused her to leave for good. Things really started to look up for the two of them as they welcomed their son Duke via a surrogate in 2012. Between beating cancer and successfully having her first child, it seemed like Giuliana was on cloud 9 until everything came crashing down for her in 2015. The incident that finally caused Giuliana to step down for good came after a scandal that involved a comment she made about Zendaya. While hosting Fashion Police, Giuliana made a harmful and inappropriate comment about Zendaya's dreadlocks. Although the show was meant to be harsh and criticize the fashion of popular A-list celebrities on the red carpet, it seemed as though her comments went too far. Giuliana said that Zendaya's dreadlocks made it seem as if she smelled like patchouli oil and another kind of green substance. She was basically saying that she thought the dreadlocks made Zendaya look like a hippie who smelled bad. The whole thing was met with some serious backlash as many people started calling Giuliana a total racist for the comment. Zendaya was only 18 at the time and had to address the comments in a long Instagram post to talk about how much the whole thing affected her. In her post, she said that there was a fine line between what's funny and what's disrespectful. She said that the comments Giuliana made left her in complete awe when she heard them, and that after it was said, she was hit with tons of hate comments which included ignorant slurs and pure disrespect to a level she'd never seen before. It was pretty clear that Zendaya was pretty hurt by the whole thing, which honestly made a lot of sense. Of course, Giuliana did apologize for the comments and said that it was never her intention to hurt anyone, and to be fair, she did take full responsibility for the situation and said that she was starting to understand the impact of how harmful those stereotypes could be. And she also was fully aware that even though it wasn't what she meant to do, the result of her actions was all the same, which is definitely true since her comments really pushed forward some pretty harmful and racist views that many people have been pushing against, especially in Hollywood. Despite her apology, her Fashion Police co-host Kelly Osbourne publicly criticized her on Twitter and said that she doesn't condone racism. On top of that, she threatened to quit the show if she didn't see some action taken. But Giuliana wasn't fired from any of her jobs, so Kelly decided to officially leave her position while continuing to criticize Giuliana on her way out. And she wasn't the only one. Kathy Griffin, who took over for Joan Rivers after her passing in 2014, also publicly criticized Giuliana. In an interview with the Chicago Sun-Times, Kathy said that someone else wrote the joke for Giuliana and she should have never let that happen. She also said that she wouldn't have said the joke herself considering how offensive it was. And that actually said a lot since Kathy is kind of known for being one of the more out there and unapologetic comedians who doesn't care about who she offends. While it was never explicitly stated that this scandal was the reason why Giuliana left, it definitely seems like that was the case. After the scandal, Giuliana left E! And went on to work on some other business projects she had outside of entertainment. Over the years, she's written several books and even has a line of clothing for the Home Shopping Network. And in 2017, she expanded her line of adult beverages. In 2018, Giuliana briefly returned to the E! Network but decided to leave again once the program moved to a different filming location. So she moved on and continued her personal affairs and started a home line called August and Leo in April 2020. Together, she and her husband are also behind RPM Restaurants, which has several locations in Chicago, which is where they live now. These days, Giuliana is sometimes still on TV with E! Network, but she has seriously taken a step back as she wants to have more flexibility to do what she's passionate about. Despite all the different businesses she's involved in, Giuliana said that E! has really been a family to her over the years, and in an interview with People in 2019, she said that it was nice to be able to do everything she wanted while still spending time with her family. Unfortunately, she and Bill weren't able to have another child since their surrogate miscarried with their last egg, but they're still happy, just the three of them, and to this day they are continuing to enjoy a pretty normal life as a family. But anyway, what do you guys think about all this? Do you think Giuliana leaving the network in 2015 had anything to do with a comment about Zendaya? And do you think it was fair that she got to step down from her position instead of getting fired? Let me know in the comments below.